this week's edition of the Pioneer Coaches Show. With me now, head track and field coach Dan Meyers. Coach, thanks for being here today.
Jagger, thanks for having me.
This past weekend, Coach, you were at Frostburg for the Bob Lewis Classic. Had a couple school records. No surprise, Natalie Barr gets her 9th, I believe it is, on the year. Janae Scott sets one in the discus, and you had about 8 other PRs, or I think it's actually 10 PRs as well. Just your thoughts on the run this past weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cold day in Frostburg. When I got there and pulled up the weather, it said 35 degrees with a wind chill of 28. So, middle of the outdoor season, that's always great. Super proud of the team because we haven't been dealt the best hand weather-wise, especially for those that didn't get to go to Charlotte with us. And I would say like the team camaraderie, the energy, we had a majority of the team there. In the last 10 minutes of the meet where it was like pounding down the snow while the men were finishing up the discus. So the team handled it well, and, we were able to come away with some good results. Natalie in that 5K, really just she cut down every single mile. It was a good tempo effort for her. She ran it pretty solo. Just an option for us to have in the back of our pocket if that's something that she might want to do at the end of the conference meet. I'm not too sure yet. And then with Janae, still not the throw she's been looking for in discus, but to be the first girl to get over that 40-meter mark for us and taking away another school record, her second outdoor throws record this year was huge. And then Kim tied her personal best, which is her school record in the vault. And she came out first time ever throwing jav and has the second best mark in the conference right now. We expect that to shift a little bit, but for her to come out and help the team like that was huge. So overall, some good performances and was just very pleased with how we battled through the conditions.
How beneficial was it for you to go to a smaller meet? Because I know for the most part, all the other ones you've been to have been pretty decently sized ones. So how beneficial was it this past week to get, because you got a lot of people in that you probably usually wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, and especially along with the throws, getting all of our throwers a lot of different reps. They did 4 and out. Sometimes, they only get 3 throws, and sometimes they do finals, but with the weather, they went 4 and out and everything. So everyone technically got an extra throw without having to advance to a final, which was big. And I think in the smaller meet settings, especially at our conference site, it was awesome just to be in that element and understand that, the weather might be like this when we show back up 100%. In a month. And yep. I think it was awesome to get some people acclimated to the facility. And Coach Shane has, did a great job and, putting that smaller meet together for us. And, I think it's something that we'll keep returning to in the past as long as conference will be there. And at the end of the day, we got taken care of what we needed to take care of. And we're excited for some better weather upcoming.
And you spoke about Kim and the jav, already second in the conference. What's the thought process that goes into something like that? Is that a points thing now that we get closer to conference meet? What goes into that?
Yeah, overall it is. Kim is someone that had, faced a lot of struggles in the vault. And, now that she's kind of on the other side and attempting some bigger heights, as a senior, I think she wanted to contribute a little bit more. And, the coaching staff we were talking about just last year, the women's jav in our conference was a weaker event, and it was started out this year. So we were just looking at some people to throw in it. And I think Janae and Mikkel Bone will be also names that could maybe get into the top 8 in that event as well. So we're hoping to get them all 3 qualified and see what happens. But yeah, it's a points thing. And, our women have a lot of different interesting spots where we can score. When you have a Natalie and a Janae and anything can kind of happen. You throw in what Kim and Bridget and some of the other female athletes on our team that could kind of sneak into some points areas. That's just kind of the process of just thinking about where we can get some extra points.
And you're coming off another good week, like I mentioned, school records, personal best. Now you head to Ohio University this weekend for the Cherry Blossom Invitational. What do you expect out of your team after another good weekend?
Well, the biggest expectation is that your main event, you're going to run it this weekend. Some people are doubling up, but Aaron Kuffner, you're running the 400 hurdles this weekend. Natalie, we're running the 15 and the 8. So you're showing up, you're doing your main event, and we're hoping for some big performances there. It's looking like it's going to be above 60. Honestly, anything above freezing, we'll take anything above 40 degrees. Yeah, absolutely. But we're excited. We haven't been to that venue as a team before. And, anytime you can go to a Division I school and compete, I think there's going to be some great distance races for Natalie. We're hoping for some other girls to kind of step up in some middle distance events, get some bigger marks in the jumps. There's a lot of different areas on the women's side that we're looking at. And then in terms of the men's side, it's just getting a lot of our guys maybe up a few spots in the conference and in the shot and disc where things are really tight and jumbled right now. We're just hoping to get some bigger marks, and everything's trending in the right direction. We're doing with what we got, and we're excited for the rest of the season.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming on today, and good luck this weekend.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Pioneer Coaches Show. With me now, I have head acrobatics and tumbling coach Taylor Broadwater. Coach, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me again.
You're coming off another win over West Virginia State back-to-back weeks. This week, scored 257. The previous week, you scored 263, so the score's a little bit down. But just your thoughts on this past week's competition.
The past week, I feel like we executed as a team much better than we did when we traveled to state. I know our score didn't show that, but we've had a lot of situations where we don't necessarily agree, but we continue the direction that we're headed in and continue to put what's best on the mat and execute where we can. And I definitely think the girls did exactly that this week. So no matter what that score showed, very, very proud of what they put out on the mat, very proud of the changes that were made and the way that they just continued to elevate the game this week. They definitely did what I asked of them, and it was fun. It was a fun acro meet for us.
Yeah, speaking on that, you had Savannah Duckworth get named MEC Athlete of the Week, had 5 of her 11 events in the 9s. 5 that were 9.6 or higher, 7 that were in the 9s. Just your thoughts on her performance, and not just this week, but just as a whole over the whole season.
Savannah, I know we've talked about her a lot this year, but she definitely deserves every recognition she's received this year. She's a great athlete. She's only a sophomore, and coming in here and competing the skills that she is very difficult. She's someone that I can challenge to do anything. I know we talked about it last week a little bit, but she is a top and tumbler for us, which is very good. However, if I really needed her to, she could step in as a base. She basically will ask me what she can do to get better, and she will do that for the team. She's definitely a team player and always wants to put forth her best effort for the team. She gets very aggravated herself, I will say. She knows what she expects of herself, and there's times that she has let herself down, I think, but that's something that she can't really do. I can't expect her to be perfect all the time, especially with the number of events she competes in. She's in 11 events for us, so that's something that's very challenging for anybody. But as a sophomore, for her to do that and step up, and just the difficulty of her skills that she competes is right up there with everyone in the league, plus nationally. So very proud of her and her work ethic this season.
Yeah, and as you're coming off the win, there's the conference recognition there. You head into the conference tournament this weekend. You have number 2 Frostburg State. They're coming off a win where they scored 267 against West Virginia State. Your thoughts there? I mean, I know it's a team that you lost to earlier in the year, but they've scored in the 260s. You scored in the 260s. Just your thoughts there coming this week.
Definitely very excited for what's to come this week. We've had a great few days of practices. We've had great energy. And at the end of the day, the girls and I talk about all the time, I just want them to do their best, and that's what matters at the end of the day. Yes, we would love to win. We want to win. We're going to put our best foot forward to see what happens. I think we can shake some things up this week, just with some improvements that we have made and cleaning things up technique-wise. They're definitely ready. The fire has been fueled this season for a lot of instances and a lot of reasons, but I feel that this team is ready, and if anyone's going to do it, I think this team can do it.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming on today, and big good luck this weekend.
Thank you so much.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Pioneer Coaches Show. With me, I have head baseball coach Jimmy Mullins. Coach, thanks for being here today.
Thank you all.
This past weekend, Coach, you faced Charleston in a 4-game series, came in tied for first with them. They took 3 out of 4. First on the first day of the set on Saturday, lost the first game 6-5 in 11 innings. Second one 8-0. Just a little bit on that first game first. It's an 11-inning game. I mean, a lot of opportunities there late. Just your thoughts on it.
Yeah, game 1, we went to, obviously you said we went to extra innings. Julian Minaya came in, I believe, 5-0.
He was, yes.
He's been pitching great. I was so excited to see him, pitching. They're ranked 3rd in the region right now. I was so excited to see him pitch against them. He was super focused in his bullpen that week that I watched, and I'm just so proud of him and how he's progressed through the program here, and just his mentality. He helps the other guys. I'm just super proud of him, and he threw the baseball well. Our bullpen this weekend overall, I told them, that they improved. They're doing better. We changed up in midweeks instead of them just throwing on the side. They're facing hitters, because if they're not in the games in the weekend, they're not getting that experience. So they need to face hitters midweek, and it helps everyone. And the first game went extra innings and we ended up losing. You know, you're never just okay with a loss, but in the game of baseball, you can't control winning, no matter what anyone says. You can only do the things to influence the wins. And I feel like we did a lot of those things in that game. Our infielders deked runners. We threw the ball to the right bases. It was a great baseball game. And, you know, we ended up losing it. Great baseball game against a great opponent. We lost the game, went on to game 2, and, you know, they scored some runs early. We fell behind in the counts, and that, you know, gave the offense the advantage of being able to kind of zone in and barrel some balls up. We went into the bullpen. Give credit to our bullpen. They kind of held it down for a little while, and we weren't able to come back there, and we lost that one. So definitely some things we could have done better there. So now we've lost both games Saturday, come back Sunday, and need to get a win. You know, getting swept during our season is really hard.
It's hard in the conference standings.
It's hard to come back, in the standings. And every game is a playoff game, like we keep talking about. And it's really important for us to get a win there. And so game 3, it's another 1-run game.
2-1, yeah.
And, you know, what was so frustrating about that game is just the multiple base running mental errors that we made there. And then a mental error on defense where, you know, we mixed up the bunt coverage. The one time the pitcher didn't cover the right side of the correct side of the field. And then, you know, we crashed on the wrong side on the other time. And it's things that we go over, you know, almost every day, which makes it frustrating. And then a couple base running errors there that really hurt us because, you know, if you make a base running error and it's an out, you're giving up a runner in scoring position, or, you know, those things are hard. 3 base running errors leading to 3 outs, that's like taking a whole inning off the board for us. And that's hard to come back and win against any team, and especially against a team that's ranked number 3 in the region. But, you know, 1-run loss there. Now we're going into game 4, and it's really important that we try to get a win now, obviously. And I was proud because I was a little bit hard on them in between games there, and I was proud of them the way they were able to respond and not kind of give up. And the good thing is we had a good outing by Cole Grady, a freshman pitcher, and he's really been throwing the ball well, and that was a great outing for him because if we go out and we don't pitch it well there in the top of the first, it's really easy for our mentality to get drained after losing 3 games. And then, you know, if we were to go down early, that's really tough to come back. And those guys responded and were able to get the last win. And it's encouraging that 2 1-run games against an opponent like that. And it's also, you know, frustrating because we could have had 2 wins against a regional opponent. But, you know, I said earlier, it's frustrating things that we work on every day that we didn't do. And, but, you know, I got their back. It's up to me to figure out how to make sure those things don't happen. And it's hard in baseball because you can't always simulate the game and you can't simulate the game pressure. And what happens there is all those guys knew the right way to do it, but they're trying to compete and get things done, and all of a sudden they lose focus on what's really important, and it's just that pitch, what is the simple plan, and stay on the plan. And they got outside of that, tried to compete, and, you know, it hurt us a little bit, but I got their back. We're going to continue to work on it and continue to move forward.
Because what kind of changed in that last game? Because, I mean, you know it as just from the mental aspect. You lose the first 3 games, 2 of the first 3. You lose by 1 run. Then it just, I mean, the switch flips in the last game. You score 15 runs on 10 hits. You scored in every single inning that you had. And the score doesn't really show it, but they were in the 4th inning. It was a 6-2 game. And they had bases loaded. Chris Thompson comes in, shuts the door, and it's just it's a blowout after that. Just what kind of changed in that last game compared to the first 3?
Yeah, it all starts with Cole Grady getting on the mound and being able to throw strikes. He got in a little bit of a jam in the first inning and was able to work out of it. And when you work out of jams on defense, it brings your momentum to you. And momentum is such a big thing in sports. And when we get the momentum and then we're able to kind of just do simple things on offense, and then once we got into that section of their bullpen, they didn't throw a whole lot of strikes. We took what they gave us, and we were able to score 1 and 2 and then not just keep pushing it. And we talk about it all the time. You know, you don't score 10 runs in 2 swings. You have to chip away. You got to get your layups and, you know, take your small things, and then it turns into big things. And so I was definitely proud of that. And like I said, we got good starting pitching in game 1. It just didn't go our way. It was a great game, and fell behind in game 2, weren't able to come back. They've got good guys on the mound on their side, The game 3, another 1-run game. It's encouraging that we're that close. Disappointing that we did some things that, hurt us.
Yeah.
And we could have won, but we got to move forward. Losing 3 out of 4 to number 3rd team ranked, team in the region, it's not the end of the world, especially since we were able to have a good record coming in, and it's the first series we've lost all year. So we've basically got to say, so what? I got their back. We're going to move forward.
And you speak about moving forward as well. Now, UC's in the rearview mirror. You have West Virginia State coming up, who's 11-3 in the conference, 2 games ahead of you in the Southern Division standings. Your expectations there? It's on the road, familiar place for you, obviously, but just your expectations out of your guys. It's another big series, another big one.
I expect that we're going to learn from some of the things that happened this past weekend. I expect that we're going to come in excited for the weekend. One thing I'll say about our guys is they care about it.
You can tell being down there too.
They care about it.
Yeah.
And, a lot of teams in the past maybe, or, just in general, they'll just, it is what it is, but they care about it. They're going to want to get better. They're going to focus in. They understand that when I'm hard on them about things or when they mess up things, they also understand and they believe the fact that I'm going to work hard. I'm not going to point the finger at them. I mean, it doesn't take a great baseball coach to point out all the mistakes. Mm-hmm. I mean, that'd be like going to the doctor and the doctor says, hey, here's what's wrong with you. You need to do better, go home. The doctor's supposed to prescribe you with things that are going to help you get better, and that's my job. So, they're going to meet me halfway. I'm going to work harder, and we're going to make sure some of those things are cleaned up. And, the game of baseball, we'll go in next weekend, probably make 2 or 3 other mistakes, but hopefully we play well enough where we're able to get 2 or 3 wins. And, I expect them to come with a good mentality, and it's going to be an exciting weekend.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming on today, and good luck this weekend.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Pioneer Coaches Show. With me now, of head softball coach Sara Scoone. Coach, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
This past weekend, you started off, got the games moved, so you had to play Sunday, Monday. Started off with Wheeling on Sunday, split there, 3-1 in the first game you won. Lost the second one 5-2. Your thoughts on those 2 games right there?
We came out hot in that first game, and again, tale as old as time. On the second game, we kind of dwindled off. But our pitching performance that day was very good. Had a little miscues on defense. You need to pick it up on base running in a few areas, and then just consistency of swinging the bat.
And that second loss against Wheeling, I know it's not one that you obviously are happy with, but your girls turn around on Monday and they shut out West Liberty twice. I think that says a lot. In a bad loss that you have, they turn around and they play really well on Monday. Your thoughts on those 2 wins right there?
Oh my gosh. I was so proud of them after that. I was proud of them on all fronts. Their hitting was there and they hit the ball hard. They weren't just trying to hit the ball. They were trying to hit the ball hard. So I was proud of that. I was extremely impressed with our pitching. And then we also had very key plays defensively that saved runs on both of those days. Delaney Warnick had some great plays in left field. Caitlin Reiser had some great plays at shortstop, stopped some runs. It was just very, very, very great showing from defense that day.
And then you move into this coming weekend against Fairmont Frostburg. Big games like we were talked about beforehand. Fairmont comes in 12-2, Frostburg 11-3. Your expectations there this weekend? I mean, 2 really good schools you're about to face.
Every game that we play is a game there's no easy win. There's never an easy win in this sport. And going into this weekend against Fairmont and Frostburg, 2 great teams. But our biggest thing is not worrying about who we're playing. It's how we are going to play. And if we can bring our level of play, if we can swing the bat how we need to swing the bat, if we can play defense how we need to play defense, then I expect good results. And that's my priority, making sure that our team is ready to go on our end.
And someone who's obviously been important all season long, but is important down the stretch here now is Holly Brim. She had 29 strikeouts over 15 2/3 innings this past weekend. That's about 2 strikeouts an inning. How important has she been, especially these past couple of weeks, trying to get some wins together?
Yeah, Holly's on fire right now. It's a joy calling pitches for her. We work well together. This is her 5th year, and she's been around the block a time or two, and you know, she's really working. She said her body was feeling good this past weekend, so she didn't have any knee problems. The old lady's getting up there, but no, she's doing great. It's a joy coaching her, and she's just so in it right now, and I hope that continues for her and the team.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming on today, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you so much.